Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to give it about another minute, make sure that we give folks a chance to join, and then I'm going to just kick it off with an introduction and turn it over to the team at Participate Learning. All right, we've got a good number of people who have joined. I'm going to take just a second to introduce myself and our wonderful hosts today. My name is Raman Taheri. I am CEO of Magnet Schools of America. I am very excited to introduce Freebird McKinney and Ashley Soulsby from Participate Learning. They are going to host this webinar today entitled Local Action, Global Impact, Transforming Your Magnet School with Global Learning and Bilingual Education. And I do want to take a second to just thank them both and to thank Participate Learning for their deep partnership with Magnet Schools of America. They do great things for all of our member schools, and I know that I am going to enjoy this and that we'll all learn a lot. So without further ado, Freebird and Ashley, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Raman. We are very excited to be here today and really appreciate you spending your afternoon with Ashley and I. We're going to talk today about local action, global impact, how we believe transforming your magnet school with global learning and bilingual education can create amazing opportunities for your students, your teachers, and your school communities.
So we are excited to jump into today's agenda. We will start with some introductions and then move on to talking through kind of a foundation, looking at our 5 pillars of magnet school success and thinking through how global learning and bilingual education can show up in support of both of those pillars. And then at the end, we'll talk together about how we can help support you as you work to strengthen or launch your new magnet programs as we move through the year and into next year.
Real quickly, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Freebird McKinney. I am the Director of Partnership Development for Participate Learning. I come into this space a very passionate global educator as a social studies high school teacher of about 20 years. Also served in a government capacity with the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and our state board, and just really excited to share both my passion and Participate Learning's passion for global learning today.
I'm Ashley Soulsby. I know that my Zoom says Freebird McKinney. I'm not Freebird McKinney. I'm also a former educator. I did 16 glorious years in middle school, where I got to do a lot of work around global learning, including several of the pieces that are now in our Global Leaders Framework that we get to share today. I've also worked for our company coming up on 6 years doing the global side of things, but I also spent my first handful of years at Participate Learning, doing all things dual language and bilingual education. So I'm thrilled to be here. I have loved our partnership with MSA, and we're just really grateful for the opportunity to get to be with y'all today. So as we think about why we're here and kind of how we fit so well into this partnership with Magnet Schools of America, we wanted to take a moment and tell you who we are as a company and who we strive to be. We are Participate Learning. We were established in 1987, and everything we do, our programs, our professional development, is all about prioritizing language proficiency, cultural competency, and critical thinking, and just really making sure that all of our students are prepared for the world that is coming to them.
We're also really excited to share that we are a true partner in education. Participate Learning is a B Corp, which takes on a very different lens and perspective than many education partners. We're one of the only B Corp education partners currently, and we've been honored as best in the world since 2013. What that means is that we really focus on environmental sustainability and social responsibility. And you can see several other awards, including our Leadership's Real Leaders Impact Award, Inspiring Workplaces. And also, again, that Sustainable Business Council. So we really try to live our vision and our mission. Also like to share that we partner both with Bridge USA. We're one of the largest B Corp partners of the United States Department of State. And every single piece of professional development that we're going to discuss today is accredited by Elon University School of Education, which has a deep and rich history in the story of Participate Learning, as our founders are connected to this university.
We are lucky to get to show up for our schools and districts in several different ways. Our 4 main offerings are on the screen here, and several we're going to talk about today. The first is our Spanish Dual Language Mastery Program, and that aims at serving Spanish dual language teachers and administrators with a personalized professional learning pathway and on-demand coaching. The second offering is our Conexiones bilingual education program. That is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade dual language. It is a fantastic combination of curriculum and coaching to support our middle school dual language learners. And then the other side of our work that integrates so well with bilingual education is our Global Leaders Framework and Fellowship. The framework aims at serving K-12 schools with powerful school transformation that is all about workforce readiness and making sure that your students are prepared for a global economy. And then we offer that as a teacher fellowship as well to really serve our teachers, our instructional coaches, and leaders. As we think about our wonderful partners, we have been super fortunate to serve 550 schools in 75 unique districts, and we are expanding every day. We love our partners in North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina, and Florida. Recently, we have expanded to New Mexico as well, and are looking forward to partnering in Tennessee coming up next year.
So we wanted to kind of start out today by really rooting global learning in the research. In November of 2022, Google for Education launched the Future of Education report. And what this did is it really solidified, what our schools are going to look like or need to look like as we do 3 different things: prepare for a new future for our students, evolve how our teachers teach and learn, and then how are we reimagining learning ecosystems? So this report spanned over 94 different educational experts, 24 countries, and really collected evidence and data over a 2-year stretch. And I want to share this with you today because of these trends that evolved, one of the most important ones was the rising demand for global problem solvers. And as we think about how we're preparing students for a new future, Participate Learning is foundational in the development of a global leader. And here you see the profile of a global leader, which we're going to use a little later on as we highlight the Global Leaders Framework. But we wanted to kind of set this discussion in the fact that our primary goal is to prepare both students and teachers for a new future. The U.S. Department of Education also reflects this same sentiment in their Raise the Bar, Lead the World initiative. And I encapsulated one of the quotes that really, I think, resonates for what we're talking about today, and that strategies aimed at promoting academic excellence and wellness for every learner, but also better preparing our nation for global competitiveness, is foundational in this U.S. Department of Education initiative. And as you see, there are 3 primary focuses. I want us to really look at the one that says create pathways for global engagement. So this is a 2-pronged attack, both in ensuring that students have a pathway to college and career readiness that is founded in global skills and competencies, but also that provides opportunities and pathways for students to actualize as multilingual, both in a heritage speaker, but also in those who are learning a second language. And we really feel like this quote personifies exactly what we're talking about as we look at those global skills and competencies. We have to teach our kids to live in a big world, even if they live in a small town. And when we think about global education and global learning, particularly, we feel like Participate Learning, as the title of today focuses on, allows for students and teachers to actualize at the local level through global learning so that they can have a global impact.
So we want to talk now a bit about why global learning and take a look at how it is this beautiful umbrella that kind of ties all of the priorities that I think we're all working on in education today, including things like national initiatives and your magnet school themes. So as we think about why global learning, we want to first kind of talk through a few different quotes that have come out of recent research that kind of backs up what Freebird just shared and really just solidifies why this is so relevant now and why now is the time to start heading in this direction if you have not already. This first one is from 2021. 87% of executives believe that their organizations and their workers in those organizations have significant skill gaps. So folks are being hired and they're getting into these jobs and these positions, and those soft skills are suddenly not so soft. So they are preventing folks from being successful in careers. The other piece that I want to stress here is that companies are actively seeking employees with intercultural competencies and a global mindset. The quote that Freebird shared about the small town, even when you're in a big world, is really relevant here. We are preparing kids to go into positions that are going to require them to have things like intercultural understanding and empathy, all of those skills that kind of can exist alongside academic mastery. The second one I'll highlight here is one of my favorites. I use it all the time. And it is 65% of students right now will work in jobs that don't yet exist. So we're not going to know what those jobs look like necessarily, but we are going to know what skills and competencies that kids need to thrive in a global workforce. And that means infusing global competencies right alongside academic standards so that we're absolutely sure that our students are prepared to thrive no matter what that job market turns into. Oh, we have one more. This one is 75% of students who have gone through global learning programs report a stronger sense of global citizenship and awareness. When I was a middle school teacher, I got to do this work in a classroom with kids, and we'll share more about that in a bit. But I can tell you the sense of palpable agency that grows in students as they kind of learn and master these competencies and kind of think about their place locally and globally is incredible. It really does enhance the academic mastery and give this really strong sense of responsibility to be part of a greater good. And then it is all about this future workforce, right? Global competencies are not soft skills. It's not fluff. These are the same level of importance that we need for students to have in order to thrive in the job market and in future careers. Those competencies are the pathway to building our future ready leaders. And we want our students to develop as global leaders so that they can be part of inclusive, relevant, connected, and empowered communities.
I also wanted to comment on something that's come up very recently. And in the last, I would say 3 to 4 years, AI has really entered into the space of education and how we prepare our students for that future workforce. And something that has arisen is the future of human-centered skills. And what Participate Learning sees is that AI is always going to be now a part of how we educate our students, but it's also going to be a part of how they join an evolving workforce. So what are those skills that they're going to require in order to interact with AI? And when we think about the human-centered skills, we think about these skills that continue to prop up as global skills and competencies, or soft skills, or durable skills. We're thinking of critical thinking, empathy, flexibility and adaptability, self-awareness. And most recently, I had the opportunity and honor to speak with Sal Khan, who is just a great inspiration to myself. I know many educators could really consider him as a voice of the COVID kids, as a someone who really shepherded them through online learning at home through COVID. And I was able to share with him some of the work that Participate Learning is doing and my excitement for global learning and global skills and competencies. And he said this quote: AI increases the need for HI. And I took a step back when he said that, because I realized very quickly that, again, the same skills and global competencies that Ashley's referring to are going to be the ones that students are going to need to continue to develop as they interact and interface with artificial intelligence. And I feel that Magnet Schools of America is an incredible place to not only continue the themes that you all are already building upon, but also synthesizing those skills and competencies that we look at as global competencies that will interact with AI. Those themes that you all are dedicated to: STEM, fine and performing arts, global studies, CTE, and world languages. We feel that global provides an incredible umbrella to engage students, to empower teachers, and to continue to build that future workforce. We also see the pillars of Magnet Schools of America synthesizing with those same skills and competencies. Are our students culturally aware? And when we're talking about the pillar of diversity, we feel that Global provides an incredible opportunity to innovate curriculum, to allow teachers to professionally develop as well in those global skills and competencies, so that they can then imbue those skills into their students. We feel that this is a nesting ground for academic excellence and a breeding ground for leadership, as well as a natural conduit for how family and community partners can be developed, whether it's in changing communities of demographics or in schools right now that are reflecting greater diversity, greater multilingual students, and greater opportunities, again, to allow students to see themselves in that future workforce. Magnet Schools of America's strategic roadmap synthesizes what we've been talking about today and some of the federal initiatives and programs that are run by the Department of Education, like MSAP, with state initiatives like Profile and Portrait for Graduates, with local initiatives that we feel Magnet Schools of America and their themes provide an incredible opportunity to actualize as a global school with dual language opportunities. I'm now going to focus on the theme of global learning. And Participate Learning is honored today to share with you two different programs that we feel will really support what Magnet Schools are already doing, and providing a framework, in this case, that helps schools to incorporate global themes and competencies and to already establish initiatives. As Ashley said earlier, we feel that this is the foundation for future success in a globally competitive world, but we also feel that global leaders allow students and teachers to actualize in a globally connected world. Here you see the Global Leaders Framework. And what we wanted to really focus on today is that there are three different ways that we allow the Global Leaders Framework to build out those global skills and competencies. First, through professional development. Second, through strategy coaching, which Ashley can share a great bit about her role in strategy coaching, and we feel is a centerpiece of this framework, as well as the online community of practice, which is where many of the conversations, many of the interactions will take place. And then we do that through three foundational pieces of the framework: global competencies, teaching practices, and action-driven learning, which we'll share in a few minutes. And then I believe Ashley is now going to share about the pillars and how they synthesize with magnet pillars.
Absolutely. So we understand that the pillars with Magnet Schools of America are integral for you guys growing really strong programs that serve kids all over the country. And we also can see many of the ways that Global Leaders kind of aligns well with those pillars. So we have family and community partnerships, which we know is critical. We have seen, especially in the last couple years, a need to bring the communities back into schools. I think when COVID happened, a lot of that had to go away for a while, and folks are really looking for a way to bring them back. There are several different features of Global Leaders that allow that to happen in authentic, meaningful ways. Action-driven learning projects, which we're going to talk about in just a minute, are really about addressing community challenges with the community, right? In partnership with businesses and families, just really coming together around a common cause. Academic excellence is all over everything we do. The professional learning around our teaching practices, whether it's intentionally helping our educators boost their ability to foster inclusive classrooms or ensure that learning is relevant and meaningful for kids, make really strong connections. And my personal favorite, build student agency. I think agency is everything for kids. We are sure that that comes with academic excellence, right? So this is all standards based. You're not throwing out your standards for Global Leaders. The two are working hand in hand, and it's your strategy coach that can help that happen. From there, the innovative curriculum and professional development side of things, Global Leaders operates kind of on a hybrid model where you have this really incredible professional learning available to you through our community of practice, but all of that is paired with a strategy coach, and that coach, it's their entire job to bring that professional learning to life for your magnet school on your terms. So it is personalized and it is strategic. From there, the diversity angle, which is so critical in today's world, we really think that the global competencies and as well as the action-driven learning are increasing the opportunities for students to be around different folks and kind of work with different folks, as well as address diversity through what they're reading, what they're talking about, how they're speaking to each other. It's just all over the framework. And then from there, we have a ton of leadership kind of baked into Global Leaders. We believe, and it's a pillar of Global Leaders, in what we call shared leadership. So you have teacher positions within this framework that will allow your teacher leaders to shine and kind of lead the work in the school, because this is a capacity building model. It is not Participate Learning coming in and doing Global Leaders. It is Participate Learning coming in to help you figure this out in a way that preserves the identity and integrity of your school and kind of brings it to life for your people and your kids the right way. And then lastly, this is about as real as social emotional learning gets. The competencies are character traits, right? They're life skills that we know students are going to need for the workforce, but they absolutely address the aspects of the CASEL framework as well. So it's this very authentic social emotional learning. And then we just want to kind of share this wonderful impact statement that we recently received from our teacher survey, where we saw that 94% of teachers believe that Global Leaders significantly enhances students' career readiness by equipping them with durable, future-proof skills. And that's, again, it's coming from those global competencies, and then most importantly, putting those competencies in action as they dig into our action-driven learning, which we're going to speak about in just a minute.
We also wanted to share that 90% of teachers have seen notable improvements in their teaching practices through their engagement with Global Leaders. And that's what we feel, again, is foundational to this framework. Is it is a professional learning journey for teachers so that they can then imbue those same skills and competencies that they learned into their students allowing them to take action in their local communities to change the world. I wanted to share quickly the four pillars that Global Leaders is founded on. So as you saw earlier, we looked at how this synthesizes with the pillars of Magnet Schools of America. And these are the four pillars that are foundational to the Global Leaders framework: career-ready graduates, global empowered school culture, shared leadership, as Ashley just mentioned, and a connected community. So the Global Leaders PD is made up of virtual micro-credential professional learning courses that focus on these four pillars. And then those four pillars, through a series of different artifacts, reach different levels of school designation. So as a school progresses through this journey, they will move literally from journey to accomplished and then to showcase, where once a school reaches showcase, they actually work with Participate Learning at conferences to showcase their Global Leaders journey. And then maybe even would be participating in something like this webinar right here. So we're really excited for our schools. We've actually taken several of our schools to the last two Magnet Schools of America conference, both from Palm Beach, Florida, and then also from Kannapolis, North Carolina. And we feel like this is another incredible opportunity to practice that shared leadership, where teachers and administrators are able to showcase their own school. Here's just a couple of really fun pictures from our recent Global Leaders kickoff in Roosevelt Middle School in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which ironically, if you take one turn out of the Participate Learning office and get on I-40 and drive a little over 2,000 miles, and then take two more turns on the Highway 66, you can reach Roosevelt Middle School. So it's just a beautiful microcosm of uniting our world. And if you can get onto one road after three turns, you can go from the Participate Learning headquarters all the way to this school. And this was just a special day with Dave Roberts, who is the principal there, and the Roosevelt Middle School team. And we're so excited to see how they're progressing through their Global Leaders journey.
So the other big component of Global Leaders is what we call action-driven learning. And it really is about showing your students how they can take these academic standards that they have to learn, right, and pair them with solving real-world challenges in a way that brings those standards to life, makes them much more relevant and meaningful, and affects local and therefore global change. When I talk about action-driven learning, I did this in a classroom as a teacher, and I talk about it as PBL with a purpose. So it has a lot in common with what we see with problem-based learning. It's just the types of problems that we're asking kids to solve reflect local issues that then tie to the world, right? Because they tie to a bigger framework. And I'll speak about that in a minute. So when we think about action-driven learning, we really think about it in three different chunks. So we always think about our global competencies, which I know we've referenced a lot here. This is our list. We have 10 things that we know kids are going to need to thrive in the workforce and in their future. But it is also about who we want our students to kind of grow into and become, so that they want to contribute to their local communities and make that global impact. Can you flip, Bird?
Yep.
Thank you. From there, so we've kind of talked through the competencies, and our students are growing as global leaders. We want to directly teach them and expose them to a global framework that reflects the largest challenges that are happening all over the world at any given time. And that is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These are very near and dear to my heart. I taught an elective class for middle school students that was centered around the goals, and we tackled them all, right? Where students looked at these things at a global level for sure, but then we looked outside our school in Durham, North Carolina, which is where I was, and they saw these same things happening, right? So you have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students figuring out that when they address something like zero hunger by, organizing a food drive or doing any sort of small local action, if it is tied to a sustainable development goal, when they make local change, they just change the world, which change the world can be a little cheesy, but not when it's real and measurable. So exposing them to the SDGs really makes that learning stick. And then from there, Participate Learning has developed what we call Blueprint for a Better World. And this is the how, right? These are action-based ideas around 3 big chunks that we feel like align well with the SDGs and also allow our global leaders to put their global competencies into practice. So we want students to think about, how do I protect the planet? What are some big ways that we have to do that? Same for care for the people and build for the future. So our action-driven learning projects might take on any of these sort of actions, really. And if you look at them, they're all cross-curricular. They work grades K through 12, and they all tie to local pressing challenges.
And then we'll kind of end on this last statistic that we got from our Global Leaders survey, is that 96% of teachers agree that global leaders foster that shared global vision. And our hashtag is Uniting Our World. And we feel like when we are founded in a common purpose, this not only engages educators, but ultimately engages students. We feel like this is a solution for the chronic absenteeism, particularly that's plaguing our middle schools. And we feel like when everyone is aligned by this global vision, that school culture transformation led by our teachers allows them to take ownership of their initiatives, but also support the collective mission of what it means to be a global leader school. We thought we'd also just quickly share you can scan here to read our West Oxford case study. This is a small elementary school in Granville County, North Carolina. Again, really gets to the heart of that idea of we have to teach our kids who live in a small town that they live in that big world. And we'd love for you to walk this journey with us by looking over this case study. We feel like it's highly applicable to many of the schools that you all are leading and already working with.
And that is the perfect bridge to kind of dig into our second theme focus, which is on bilingual education. West Oxford Elementary started, I got to be their strategy coach, and they started right before COVID hit. So it was a different time, my friends. And they started with global leaders. They wanted to shift the culture in their school and bring kids back to their school. They were losing a lot of students to charters at the time. And then after having global leaders in play, they added dual language. And the combination of the two is just magic. So when we think about bilingual education, we tie all of the work that we do at Participate Learning to the pillars of bilingual education, which comes from a variety of sources, but we're attributing it here to the Center for Applied Linguistics. So we're really focused on bilingualism and biliteracy, high academic achievement, and sociocultural competence. And we're going to talk today about the ways that Participate Learning shows up across these 3 pillars to support your magnet schools. But we also just want to recognize that a lot of folks are already out there in this work. So if you have an existing program, we just want to help you amplify and kind of streamline the work you're doing. So it is for everyone. So we're going to go back to research again. I'm a big research nerd. The dual language side of things, like why this is so critical. We know that our bilinguals are going to have greater career opportunities and higher wages. If you look at job postings right now and you compare salaries, it is a significant increase for a bilingual person to get a full-time job than it is for a monolingual person. That's only going to grow as our students kind of move through school and go into the future workforce. It does give students an advantage in the job market, and employers are now seeking bilingual skills more and more. So that's one big chunk. And then the other piece I want to highlight that really does frame this work is our wonderful English language learners, our ELs. We know that this is the population on the rise right now, and that folks are really looking for ways to ensure that these students are being served and allowed the same equitable access and opportunity as other students, right? So we know that dual language programs can help our ELs reclassify and exit programs sooner. It also, is a beautiful way to just honor their language and their culture in a dual language setting. So rather than, when I was a teacher, and I'm sure this is still around today, my ELs were pulled out of my classroom, right? In a dual language setting, that doesn't have to happen. So you're really able to kind of bring them into the fold, and it just changes the game for those students. And we want to really be thinking about them as we have this conversation today, because as I mentioned, that is the #1 population on the rise in our K-12 schools. So as we think about bilingual education and these magnet school pillars, we see a lot of alignment again. Our family and community partnerships with a dual language program, you're able to bring in several families that maybe otherwise are not going to be as willing to engage. And same with community partnerships. We are so lucky to be down in the school district of Palm Beach County, and they are a wonderful example of this, where their dual language programs partner with community resources out in Jupiter, Florida. We have a middle school, Jupiter Middle School, and those language students are actively partnering, and they're coming into the school as well with an organization called El Sol that does really fantastic things for families in that community. Academic excellence, we know, like all of the research shows, that your bilingual students, your dual language students, will outperform their monolingual peers. It's there, it's been there for years and years. Dual language is not new. So it is a tool to increase cognitive flexibility in your students, and their test scores will reflect that. It is innovative curriculum and professional development. I am fiercely proud of what we are able to offer, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But our professional learning is really a wonderful combination of 17 years of experience supporting dual language programs in our footprint and best practice and research-based instruction. It is all about diversity and inclusion, and there is a ton of leadership here, obviously. And then lastly, we just one more time want to highlight the way that dual language can show up for our heritage language learners, which is critical. So before we talk about what Participate Learning is able to offer in support of your dual language programs, I just want to kind of contextualize where we're coming from. We are a company that has been in the dual language space for over 17 years. Currently, we have 174 K-8 DLI programs that we provide wraparound comprehensive support for. There is a brilliant team who have all served as dual language teachers, administrators, you name it, coaches, all of it, who are our program managers on that team now, who build professional learning, who are thought leaders, who coach and support our teachers every single day. So our programs hold a 90% renewal rate, and our customers seem to really like us. But I believe that's because we have this authentic experience paired with research-based best practice. So all of that experience and research-based best practice came together to build dual language mastery. And that is what we want to share today as an offering to either help you launch a dual language program in your magnet school, or refresh, revitalize, we know that happens too, with your existing program. So this is professional development. It is a pathway intended for your dual language teachers as well as administrators. Now that means administrators in your building, because we know that a lot of times principals don't necessarily sign on to be a dual language principal, and we want to make sure they feel confident and prepared to do that. And then also folks in your district that are going to be supporting these folks. So we do have a separate administrator pathway, which I think is really powerful. And it's about making sure that everyone's on the same page with the knowledge, the skills, the expertise that is needed to excel in dual language. Now, our dual language mastery, the pathway works for one-way or two-way immersion programs. So it is differentiated in that way. And what you get is it's structured similarly to Global Leaders in that it centers around a community of practice. You have a virtual live kickoff with our coaching team and access to all of your professional learning courses that you've signed up for. And then you also have on-demand coaching, meaning that our team is there for you to help you personalize the learning and make sure that it is working for your people on your terms, right? So making sure that if you are launching a program and you're in our first course, either as a teacher or an administrator, if you're doing foundations, you have what you need to really be putting together a program that's going to launch strong. So that's what dual language mastery is really about, is that personalized support paired with high quality professional development. Everything is micro-credentialed, and you earn virtual badges, again, similar to Global Leaders. All of this is endorsed by Elon University School of Education. So typically when folks come to us about dual language mastery, they're looking to do one of three things. Either you want to elevate your district or school to that recognized standard in bilingual education, which we can absolutely help you do. We also are helping folks enhance academic success. So if your dual language data is not looking so great and you would like some help and support to get everybody on the same page, we can do that through dual language mastery. This includes making sure that we are doing a good job of serving those English language learners and just making sure that the model of the program, whether it's 50-50 or full, is really doing what we want it to do. And then lastly, if you're thinking about a new dual language program or considering this, we can help you establish that and position you as the leading choice for families who are really looking to prioritize career readiness for kids. We know that one of the incredible strengths of a magnet school is its ability to bring kids back from other options in district, out of district, kind of bring schools back to life. And dual language is a wonderful way to do that. So what does it look like? We will look first at our teacher program. You have 4 different courses here. Now you can do the entire teacher program and kind of go through this, and you can see the recommended timeline besides each course, or you can elect to do it kind of a la carte based on your needs, right? We are service-centered partners. We always want to show up for you. So as you are thinking about launching a program, perhaps your teachers, they do need the entire thing. What's cool about both pathways is that you have access to this material for 18 months. So don't let the time frame kind of get in your way, and don't think about, oh, my teachers don't have time to do this. That is very real, but we can help you. So the personalized and the coaching parts of this are to help navigate things like teacher time. I know everyone's got science of reading on their minds if you're elementary, all that good stuff. So that's a big picture on our teacher program. And then if we want to look at administrator. Freebird, can you click? One more, please. Thank you. So big picture,
Yeah.
we have the administrator program here. So same idea, you can purchase the entire chunk of learning to help your principals, your district folks really put together a strong dual language program or reset the program that is already in place. So we start with foundations. The second sequence is on instructional leadership. I've had some really powerful conversations with administrators who are new to dual language, who are not bilingual and are having a hard time going into those classrooms and feeling confident to do walkthroughs, evaluations, all that good stuff. So our instructional leadership and the assessment and program monitoring pieces are fantastic to empower your school leaders, your district leaders, to really understand research-based best practice and go into those classrooms and support your teachers and ensure that your program is high quality. We also do offer a program evaluation at the end of the sequence that gives you a really clear picture of where you are and kind of helps you set goals for growth moving forward. And then I just want to, I didn't highlight this on the teacher one. I'm trying to be thoughtful on time, but my favorite thing, next to the incredible professional learning that's in all of these courses, is that we have taken all of these resources that our team has built over the last 17 years and embed them into both pathways. So these are concrete, practical resources. And this is an example of one. I know that's itty bitty, but this is a checklist. So if you're thinking about launching a program or looking to revitalize an existing program, we break it down by the critical categories that you have to think about as you are planning a dual language program. And this is given to you right from the jump. It's in the foundations course of the administrator pathway. So right away, you're getting a clear path forward, and it's paired with a coach who has been doing this work forever and understands, kind of where you're coming from, wants to get to know you, wants to get to know your community and figure out how to best support you.
So we thought we would end with this vision for a K-12 global learning pathway. And I'd love for you to just kind of take a look at this and then take a look at an elementary school, a middle school, or a high school that you have in mind, whether there are pain points like chronic absenteeism, student engagement, community support, or whether, as Ashley was mentioning, there's that changing demographic that we're looking at when it comes to heritage Spanish speakers. And then some of the national and state initiatives that are unfolding in regard to where we feel global leaders could really be something that could build out an answer to career development planning, workforce alignment. Maybe it's a portrait or a profile of a graduate. The development of those skills and competencies that we've been talking about during this webinar, and how we can allow our students and teachers to feel both globally connected and globally competitive. We feel like both of these offerings do an incredible job to support your already established initiatives, as Ashley was talking about. We feel like we have incredible coaches to support you along this way, whether it's working with a principal and how they're building out a new culture climate theme like global, or whether it's continuing your dual language immersion and providing individual teacher support or administrative support. One thing that we didn't talk about today for time's sake is that Conexiones Middle School Bridge Program. So if you are a district that has K-5 and you're looking to move into the middle school, we would love to also share about that Conexiones Middle School program. But as you can see, we believe that a vision for that K-12 global learning is an incredible possibility. And Ashley and I would love to carry this conversation forward if this is something that you all feel not only be interested in, but also impactful and transformational for your school communities. We would love to now kind of open up. I know that Raman is in charge of the chat. And if there are any questions as we finish out this webinar over the next 10 minutes, Ashley and I would welcome a further discussion.
So Freebird, how do you want to do the questions? There are some folks who put questions in the chat. There's one hand raised. Would you rather read them in the chat, or how would you like to do it?
Ashley, what do you think? You want to read them in the chat?
Sure.
Okay, if everyone could just, if you have questions, could you just put your questions in the chat and we'll just get to them in order?
Hannah, how are you today? I see your question. How is Participate Learning different than a school that is an international baccalaureate world school? So I can speak to a couple of points here, and then Ashley, if you've got anything to add here. We are actually in partnership with several schools that are also doing IB. And I think the easiest way to differentiate the two is that what Global Leaders does is it establishes a school culture climate shift, we believe. We believe that global is that umbrella, and then IB actually becomes the curriculum of which, in particular, my daughter's actually in an IB school currently. When those 11th and 12th graders transition into the curriculum that's associated with IB, we feel like global could provide the culture, the theme for that individual school. We also work with middle schools who have MYP programs. But what I actually started an IB school here in Alamance Burlington in North Carolina. And what I felt was missing was, how do you take the whole entire school and transform it into a global school? Sometimes I've seen that IB kind of bifurcates between those that are participating in the diploma program and those that aren't. Global Leaders provides a framework that incorporates global for every student, not just the ones who are pursuing the IB diploma. And we feel like, Sarah, thank you so much. Yeah, Sarah could actually comment on that, because we're partnering with her district and one of her IB schools, which is actually a PYP school, and bringing about that global school culture and climate.
I would only add that I feel like IB does a beautiful job at rigorous curriculum, and we kind of can take that rigorous curriculum and attach it to real world learning experiences. And the two together are what kids need for whatever is coming next, college, career, all of it. Is that fair to say, Bird?
Absolutely. And I feel particularly, and I'm just going to use a high school setting here. And I don't know, I see Hannah's question and also Tara's question. Definitely, Tara, to answer your question, I do believe that this is an incredible way to merge these programs. And my daughter going into the 9th and 10th grade, when we're talking about that IB learner mindset, I think it's synonymous with the global skills and competencies that Ashley showed. But I don't know how much of the pre-IB work was carried through. And so that's where I feel like these two programs work beautifully together, is you have that school climate where global is a focus for each and every kid. Critical thinking, adaptability and flexibility, empathy, these that we keep seeing over and over again on state profile and portraits of a graduate. We want every student to be able to have access and actualize as a global leader. So I do feel like these programs are very synonymous and would work together, as Ashley mentioned, from a school culture and then a curricular framework piece.
Yeah, we have also, we know that dual language increases cognitive flexibility and enormous critical thinking ability, right? One of the things we hear a lot about IB in high school is that kids come and they're not ready, like that it's intense and that they have not had that sort of level of ask academically yet. So thinking about, dual language students who already are coming with that. And if you were to work with us for Conexiones, like those action-driven learning projects feed through that as well. So you really are doing a more like holistic job of preparing kids to go into that IB diploma program.
And to kind of continue this conversation, we're actually currently working with a smaller district, and every one of their elementary schools will have a dual language immersion program that is also a global school. And then they'll feed into 2 global leaders middle schools that are also MYP, that are then going to continue into an IB high school that we are working on building the global leaders into the high school. So if you think about that K-12 global learning pathway, what an incredible conversation to have to a parent as a kindergartner who is trying to make a difficult decision as to where to send their son or daughter. And we're able to present this K-12 pathway that focuses on global and dual language immersion throughout their entire K-12 career. And I think that's some of the incredible thinking that we've been having with some of our partners currently. And this is our fearless leader who just commented to you all, Monica Coogan. So thank you, Monica, for doing that. Appreciate it. Monica serves as the executive director of account management for us, and probably many of you who've been to MSA conferences or maybe even the policy conferences have met her. So what are some other questions or thoughts?
We promise that we are not bribing Sarah Wheeler to say wonderful things. It's just a testament to what a wonderful person she is. I will tell you, I think that is what sets us apart, is that we are this hybrid, right? Where there's really strong professional learning content resources, but you've got some flexibility because you're putting all of it into practice with a coach whose job it is to get to know you, the priorities in your school improvement plan, and align all this work. So if you are IB, we got you. If you're AVID, we got you. Like, there's a way to do this that is efficient and kind of unifies priorities rather than it ever feeling like one more thing to put on your teachers, your administrators' plate.
And Elizabeth, I see your comment there. We would love to share the DL Mastery online book, and that will really give you an in-depth explanation as to what those structured literacy trainings might look like. So if you'll just email, I didn't even put the last slide up that has our email on it. If you would email either Ashley or I, we'd love to get that to you, and I think that will greatly answer your question.
Yeah, the ebook has been incredible, and that's a free resource that we're happy to send out to everyone that's interested. Again, just trying to take 17 years of experience from a really talented team and pair it with research-based best practice to just get out there and help as many folks that are in this work as possible. I'll also tell you, Elizabeth, and anyone that's interested, we're happy to kind of show courses and dig in more to specific content if anything from either DL Mastery or Global Leaders resonated with you. We love doing that stuff, so please reach out if that's true.
And Elizabeth, to one of Ashley's earlier points, and I know some of our strategy coaches are actually on the webinar currently. That is the cornerstone we feel of our support programs, is that you are assigned a strategy coach that works with you, that is flexible to your initiatives and your needs, and really works with what both you as a coordinator, as a director might need, but then also from a school administrator or even from a teacher. I know Lindsay Harrison, who is the director of our Global Leaders, is currently on the webinar, and her strategy coaches are former global educators, passionate middle school, high school, elementary teachers who have worked on certain aspects of this in their own classrooms and now bring that skill set, that knowledge, that insight, and that vision in partnership with you all. So just wanted to give a shout out to some of our strategy coaches that are on the webinar as well, because that really is, I believe, a cornerstone to this support program.
And Carlos, I see your question regarding additional information around Conexiones. If you reach out to either one of us here on the screen, we will give you all the things, and we'd love to have a conversation to hear what prompted this question. We know that middle school dual language is on a lot of folks' minds. Also, side note, we will be at NABE this year, which is a fantastic national bilingual education conference in Atlanta. And the person who has built up and kind of worked hard on Conexiones, Jason Strauss from our team, and myself are presenting there all about middle school. So if that's on your mind, please reach out. We would love to chat and see how we can help.
And I know Raman is going to provide all of your email addresses. So we will follow up with just a follow-up email that has a link to this presentation and then some of the resources that we talked about here. And I do believe it is 3 o'clock, my friends. So Raman, are you going to take us home?
I'm only popping back on for 1 second to thank you both so much for your partnership and for spending the hour with us. And I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you all. And thank you, Raman.
Thank
We
you.
love Magnet Schools of America, my friend.
The best.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, friends. Have a great day.